It's Monday, July 27th. The time is just after 5:30 p.m. and the temperature is 32 degrees Celsius. And welcome back to another ride through the streets of Toronto. This is Eglinton Avenue West that I am turning onto. But very soon, once I go through the intersection of Yonge and Eglinton, I'll be on Eglinton Avenue East, which has been named the worst road in the city of Toronto for the year of 2019 by the Canadian Automobile Association. Actually, it's the worst road in the entire province of Ontario. So the plan for this ride is to travel east across the entire length of Eglinton Avenue East, starting in midtown Toronto and eventually finishing up in Scarborough, well out on the city's east end. The entire ride should be somewhere in the neighborhood of 16 kilometers or so. Although it's quite hot today, there is a gentle breeze, so hopefully this keeps up throughout the ride. That's the entrance to Eglinton subway station on the right. And now I'm on Eglinton Avenue East. So the worst road in Toronto begins. I believe it earned that distinction for its quality of poor road, or combination of poor road conditions, as well as the extensive construction due to the crosstown LRT line they're building. And I'll be exploring much of this for the first time, as once I get east of the Least Side neighborhood, I'll be in uncharted territory, as that is not a part of Eglinton I've ever ridden my bicycle on before. I don't believe this is a particularly bicycle-friendly street, but we'll soon find out. We're starting off in the neighborhood where I live. So even though I'm quite familiar with this area, I rarely head this direction on Eglinton Avenue, and when I do, it's often no further than the Least Side area, where I'll head south down to Thorncliffe Park and hop on the Don River Trail. The LRT line they're building has been under construction for about 9 or 10 years. It started in 2011. Oh, these roads are really bad. And it should be open sometime in 2022. Just up here on the left, they are building Mount Pleasant Station. So this line will intersect with line 1 of the subway at Eglinton Station and Eglinton West Station, which will soon be Cedarvale Station. And 15 of the stations will be underground, but as we go east into Scarborough, most of the stations on this stretch will be above ground. So really, it's not going to look too different from a dedicated streetcar line for most of this portion. At least that's my understanding of it. The city, of course, still is in stage 2, thanks to this coronavirus. I'm not sure what kind of effect that'll have on this stretch of Eglinton, but I also wouldn't know what it would normally be like anyways, out this way. A little over a week ago, I did a ride down Dufferin Street, which was voted the third worst road in the province of Ontario and was the second worst in the city of Toronto, according to that 2019 CAA poll. But I really didn't find it that bad. They have resurfaced the road in the past few years. I'm not sure how well the camera is picking up on these surface conditions, but I can assure you they're not very good. That's the 34 bus. Look at this. It's like a giant pump. If you hit that on a road bike going at a good speed, you might find yourself airborne. I'm almost tempted just to ride in the left lane. Here's some people out in the patio. So the next major street we should be going by in a few blocks is Bayview Avenue. I've recorded a few rides down there before. And I guess one of the fun things about this ride is once I get all the way down there, I'm going to have to turn around and come back. So that'll certainly be fun. I also have no idea what to expect in terms of elevation changes. So this is Bayview coming up, where we've run into this traffic jam. Just at the bottom of this hill here at Eglinton and Bayview, there used to be a pretty large McDonald's, but it got expropriated so they could construct the upcoming LRT station for Bayview. I'm not sure where the LRT will be at surface level coming up, but that'll probably make itself apparent in the construction as we go by. You all know it's a bit overcast right now. It did rain quite heavily earlier in the day. I was tempted to grab my camera, jump out and record a rain walk, as I haven't had one of those in a while. But before I knew it, the rain had stopped. Also, I was supposed to be working at that time, so I'm not sure how well that would sit with the boss if they found out I did that. So it looks like the road clears up a bit once we get through this intersection. There'll be a nice uphill climb, and then we'll be in the Leaside neighborhood. This probably isn't the smartest route to take at this time of day. Caution cyclists. I'm not sure if you can see that sign. Uneven pavement ahead. Yeah, no shit. That's certainly one thing people have noticed in the comments, as amazingly vibrant Toronto is, with all its shining, gleaming glass towers downtown and vibrant neighborhoods. On the surface, everything looks great, as long as you don't look down at the road itself, because they tend to be in quite poor condition in the city. I don't really know what's up with that. Certainly worse than most other major cities of this size I've been to. Hopefully we'll make this late. And just up here on the right is where the McDonald's was. And it looks like this plaza here on the left is about to get knocked down. I wonder if that's for the station. They've expropriated an awful lot of land to build these stations, which to me is a bit surprising. I've seen entire subway lines built where they don't have to change anything at street level other than add an entrance or two. There's a number of 34 buses and a 51 all bunched together. I don't believe that's a phenomenon unique to Toronto. But for a brief period of time when I worked up on near Steeles Avenue and I had to take the Steeles bus down to Finch Station, you would often wait 15, 20, sometimes even 30 minutes during rush hour for a bus to come, and then a parade of, I kid you not, 7 or 8 of them would come back to back in a row. And last I heard, that is still an ongoing problem with the transit. The cynical side of you thinks that the drivers kind of plan that together and all leave at the same time, and I'm sure that's not the case. That was Laird Drive we just passed by, and this will be, I think, another LRT station just here on the right. There's some furniture stores that have disappeared so they can construct it. There's a Canadian Tire in there on the right, a PetSmart, a very large Mercedes dealership. And if I were heading to the Don River, I would often turn right and head south down into Thorncliffe Drive, or Thorncliffe Park Drive. Looks like I want to stay left here once I dodge all these obstacles. Looks like a fairly significant condo they're putting up here on the right. Possibly anticipating increased property values due to the LRT. There's a Marshalls and a Staples, and I never even knew they were there. So it looks like here's where the LRT will be above ground, just here on the left. Looks like they're prepping the road to lay the tracks down. It looks kind of neat. Okay, I do not want to be competing with these buses here. I believe this part will be taking us over the Don River. And just in down to the right will be the Ontario Science Centre. So I stupidly got tricked into going into, I didn't get tricked. There's a car blocking a fire truck. I wasn't paying attention to the road signs, but I got into the left turning lane when I should have been going straight. That's entirely my fault. I've got this truck here. I gotta make sure I don't get killed here. This is entirely my fault. I should have been to the right. Good thing that's a big, slow 18-wheeler. He's probably not too happy with me. I'll at least give him a courtesy and go a little faster here. Ah, he's way behind me. He's chugging his way up, so. Look at this. Looks like a war zone. Straight ahead. Now he's caught up to me. Let's give him some space. Right turn lane. I do not want to be in that. And what street is this? Looks like this will be a stop right here. This is Don Mills Road. Whew. I really didn't want to end up holding any traffic up because I misread the signs. But I'm paying the price for that now. Whew. Got a couple of buses squatting in the lanes here. And this is the entrance to the Don Valley Parkway. Whoa! Nasty bump. So this is sort of the major north to south artery on the eastern side of the city. To the south, it'll run down the eastern side of downtown. And to the north, it'll take you past the 401, where I believe it becomes the 404. I'm just guessing on that. So this is the Don Valley Parkway here we're going under. You are not allowed to take your bicycle on there, or your e-bike, or even your moped, I believe. It shouldn't be too long till I am in Scarborough. Which is one of 5 former boroughs that makes up the megacity of Toronto. Things certainly got suburban feeling in a hurry. And there's a nice hill climb coming up ahead. See if I can take this one sitting down. So I'm sure at some point in my life I've been out this way on Eglinton Avenue. I just can't remember. So that's kind of interesting, I guess. It's certainly one of the most major arteries that cuts across the city. 6 minutes to Warden. That's, of course, if I have a motor. Well, I guess I do have a motor, it just kind of sucks. So we have another sort of confusing intersection here, but I'm relatively sure this lane will go straight. That looks like it'll be a fairly not insignificant hill climb again coming up. I can't imagine myself ever wanting to ride through this stretch again. At least not until this LRT is up and running. And then I'll probably have the option of hopping on it with my bike and taking it back. So the the former city of Scarborough should start at Victoria Park Avenue. Scarborough has a population just under 700,000 people, if my memory holds up. I'm starting to question all my senses right now. Introducing the Golden Mile Chrysler. These cars are probably wishing I was up on the sidewalk, but I really can't be any more further to the right than this. Now, as per the Ontario Highway Traffic Act, this is exactly where I should be. I do appreciate the patience being shown by this vehicle. Just give him a little wave, thank you. I can imagine this area might start to intensify quite a bit more once this transit line is completed. And that Chrysler dealership was called the Golden Mile. And the reason for that is the name of this neighborhood, or at least the one we're about to enter. I see some more Golden Mile signage up ahead. The name Golden Mile was derived from the World War II days, back when this was nothing but a bunch of plots of farmland. The government of Canada built a bunch of munitions factories here, and they wanted it to be sufficiently far away from the city, just in case there were any detonations or explosions. The damage would be limited. And this is Victoria Park. So once upon a time, there would have been a "Welcome to Scarborough" sign on the other side of this intersection. If I hang a right here, which I'm kind of tempted to do, I could take this down to Victoria Park Station, which will put me on line 2 of the subway, which I could take westward to Bloor-Yonge Station and then transfer northbound. So I am on Eglinton, and this street here is called Eglinton Square, named after the shopping complex on the right, Eglinton Square, which, pardon my ignorance, I didn't even know existed. Sometimes people make comments on my walking and cycling videos that I seem rather knowledgeable on the city of Toronto. And part of the reason for that is I'm constantly always walking around downtown and the major neighborhoods off of the subway lines. So it's not that hard to pick up on things and to know your way around, see buildings and get curious, and at some point you look it up, and because it's actually interesting, unlike things you learn at your day job, it actually sticks in your memory. But when it comes to places like here, I know as much as the next guy. Probably less than him or her. So welcome to Scarborough. We have a big funky, not sure if you can see that, communications tower on the left. There's a very large Cineplex Odeon theater back there on the right. This is pharmacy. A lot of these streets I know from their interchanges off the Highway 401, which is to the north of here. One of the things that got me curious about this ride was potentially scouting some neighborhoods I could film walking videos of. I generally look for places with a fairly significant urban street presence, as no offense, but I don't find this type of neighborhood to be particularly stimulating as a pedestrian. If this is your cup of tea, that's great. And I certainly see the appeal of these areas. I just wouldn't take a leisurely stroll around them for pleasure. It's really just a bunch of strip malls and giant parking lots. Eglinton Town Center. And I have been by here before. There you go, getting a little deja vu. So this is Lebovich Avenue. It says 6 minutes to Kennedy. Kennedy is where this LRT line will terminate. And from a transit perspective, it'll form one of the most interesting areas in all of the city of Toronto, as I think there will be a GO train station there, a Line 2 subway station, a Line 3 RT station, and a Line 5 LRT station. So you'll have 3 different rail lines within the city of Toronto and 1 commuter rail line in the GO train, which for people heading downtown, that one might actually make the most sense. So this is Warden, kind of passing through a who's who of Scarborough streets. Again, when I look to the right and left, I see a whole bunch more of these strip mall style developments. One of the biggest critiques on Scarborough that's aimed directly at the city of Toronto is the lack of proper transit infrastructure out here. Not everyone owns a car. And for those that don't, they're often left dealing with the city's bus network or the very limited subway network that runs out here, which is really just Victoria Park Station and onwards on Line 2 up to the RT. What the RT is it's a 6-stop rapid transit line, but it's not a full subway. There's smaller cars, and it's mostly above ground, kind of monorail style. And that is where Line 2 ends at Kennedy Station, and Line 3 begins. So rather than just build out the subway, they opted to extend it with this RT solution. That was built in 1985. I'll give myself a cookie if I got that one right. And this terrible road continues. There's a Kelsey's. I haven't seen one of those in a long time. A laser quest. Where are we? We've crossed over into some kind of alternate dimension over here. This is like my childhood in Mississauga back in the 80s. So that 5-stop RT that they're building, or sorry, that they built in the 6-stop RT they built in 1985, I'm assuming, has sort of come close to being at the end of its service life without requiring a significant and costly overhaul. So there's been constant debate as to what to do about that. There's been the idea to just go ahead and update it. There's been an idea floated to replace it with a modern LRT, such as the one they're building here on Eglinton. And I want to say 2013, 2014, probably the most sensible proposal was a 3-stop subway extension from Kennedy Station that would run up through Scarborough Town Centre to McCowan, I believe. And then Mayor Tory kind of championed this really idiotic idea, at least in my opinion, of a 1-stop subway that would be around 7 kilometers long and cost over $3.5 billion and eliminate all these stops in between Kennedy, and it would just go straight up to Scarborough Town Centre. So you're going to be creating a lot of holes to fill on the surface level from buses if you do that, and spending just an obscene amount of money for 1 stop. I'm not sure which idea is currently at the forefront. The last time I checked on the Metrolinx page, there was the proposal for the 3-stop subway, and I think that's the one the province is going to go ahead and fund. Another idea one of the councillors tried to champion was building a very extensive 20-stop plus LRT network, which would come in at much cheaper than all of those other solutions and probably provide greater service. But right now, the city's priority has to be on building the Ontario Relief Line downtown. And then, once those shovels are in the ground, they can set their sights to other parts of the transit network. But it would be nice to see Scarborough get some more attention. These people that live here are paying City of Toronto taxes. They're just as much a part of the City of Toronto as anyone. Looks like this plaza on the right here is pretty much boarded up. There's no businesses operating. Just a bunch of cardboard boxes in the windows. So this is Kennedy Road. So right around the corner from here should be the GO station and the subway line 2 and the RT line 3. And this is where the LRT will terminate, so I think there's an extensive set of collection type tracks they're building just off here on the right. At least that's what it looks like from a distance. And hopefully, we're almost at the end of this stupid road. What a dumb idea this ride was. Before this pandemic struck us, one of my goals for this summer was to record more of the city outside of the downtown core. Go to areas in Etobicoke, Scarborough, North York, and other parts, even out to the real suburbs, such as downtown Oakville and Port Credit, and record a bunch of videos there. But when the pandemic hit, it wasn't such a good idea to be taking all kinds of extensive transit connections all over the city. So I decided to stay put and just kind of document all the main areas around downtown, which I think was a good decision. But it did mean kind of sacrificing that plan to really get out and explore more of the city on this channel. If I had the luxury of no day job, I certainly would be able to do that more. during the daytime. Looks like this is the future station just here on the right. I believe that's the GO station as well. So at least on my bicycle I can get out and get away from the usual spots a little more than usual. Although it has been really interesting documenting this pandemic as it's affected parts of the city that I know quite well, and will definitely be interested in looking back at and seeing how things have gone. And we are knee deep into Scarborough. It says that bicycles should probably be in that lane to the right, according to that sign, but there's a bus there. And we have a red light ahead, so I'm just going to stay put. Signal to Mr. Bus Driver that I'm coming. This is Midland Avenue. Couldn't tell you what the heck this neighborhood's called. Maybe the Pothole District would be a good name. It is 6:17. So hopefully I can get to the end here. It should end at Kingston Road. And there's a park there. I think I can go take a nap in. I threw a beverage in the freezer a few hours before I came out, so that should be ready for me when I get there, along with a single banana, which I'm sure will do nothing. Winter Avenue. And while I'm resting, hopefully under a nice tree somewhere, I might want to find an alternate route coming back. There's one of the plazas that are quite typical of this area on the right. Actually, there's a funny story about those U-Haul trucks I can't really get into. And this is Brimley Road. So if I hung a right here, I could take this down to the Scarborough Bluffs, Bluffers Park, which is one of the crown jewels of the city of Toronto. And to get down into Bluffers Park, Brimley Road goes into a very significant downslope, which may be fun when you're heading south that way, but coming north, especially on this bike, it's a pain in the butt. Actually, just to the right, not very far, is Lake Ontario. The more we head east, the more south we get in the city of Toronto, as the shoreline tends to run north, or to the north, the further you go east. And this is Danforth Road, which gives me an idea. I might want to come back here to Danforth and take that. Or that's Danforth Road, not Danforth Avenue. I'll probably have to figure that out. But I could take that along through Danforth Village and find my way back. Oh, there's another big. Oh, you really got to keep your eyes peeled on the road here if you're a cyclist. I think that's one of the reasons why, not that I'm making excuses, I missed those signs earlier on in this ride. Because this entire time my eyes have just been peeled on the ground. Certainly gripping my handlebars a lot tighter than I would like to. You generally want a relaxed but firm grip. And you want to keep your wrists at a good angle to avoid fatigue. That's the advantage of a road bike where you got those curved handlebars. You can change your hand and wrist positions throughout a ride. On a bike like this, you can always install bar ends, which will come out like this from the side and give you another way to grip the handlebars. This is McCowan Road. So we're starting to get into a race versus the camera battery here. I wasted about 5 minutes of battery life before this ride, just trying to get the angle right again because I stupidly took it off the chest mount, or I took the camera casing off, so I had to find the angle again. And I think these batteries run about an hour. They don't do very well in the heat, but since we're moving quickly, hopefully it's cooling it off as we go. This is Bellamy Road North, and there's a GO station here. So that should take you straight to Union Station downtown. And it'll probably lead up to Whitby, Ajax, and Pickering, Oshawa, those suburbs. And I am wearing sunglasses and I cannot see the road very well. And that is why this is Toronto's worst road. Look at this. Holy. You can see the super half-assed attempts to patch it up. This might explain why I'm the only one stupid enough to be riding their bicycle along this, even though it's a major road. You typically see other cyclists pretty much everywhere in the city, on all the roads except the major highways, but not much out here. And I think I know why. And way off onto the horizon there, I think, might be the promised land. Look at this. What are they thinking, just leaving a road in this condition? It's not like they haven't known about it. Be curious what kind of liability the city would pick up if these roads caused an accident to someone on a motorcycle or a bicycle going at a high speed. Probably none. There's probably something in the traffic act that exonerates them and puts the onus on the driver. And if you have a single vehicle accident, your insurance is always going to find you at fault because there's no other party involved. Unless, of course, there was a clearly negligent third party that caused the accident. So this is Markham Road. I'm guessing you could take this north into the city of Markham. I'm really quite useless when it comes to describing my surroundings right now. I apologize for that. Here's a guy jaywalking in front of a car turning right. Whoa! And he tried it again. That's hilarious. Just gotta give him a few knocks on the old noggin there. Make sure he's home.
Go for it.
It's a red light. Some of us follow the rules.
See motorcycles do it.
They shouldn't. So this is Cedar Drive. I've already made one bonehead mistake on this ride. I'm not going to intentionally engage in a second one. This is the kind of ride that I never want to do again. And then I'm going to check the camera and realize it recorded in black and white or in some unusable resolution or something like that. That's just the way the universe works sometimes. So this should take us to Kingston Road. There it is. So you can take this all the way down along the lake and through the Beaches neighborhood. I was going to squeeze through that crosswalk, but there was no way to responsibly do that. So I just peered to my right and saw this little U-turn opportunity. About a month ago, I looked at this area on Google Maps and I spotted a park. I think it was called Bethune Park. I was plotting rides down Kingston Road. Oops, I probably should have signaled that turn. And here we are. It's not quite the sanctuary I pictured it would be, but it will sure as heck do. There's some benches. Basketball court.
Next month is going to be 10.
This is going to be my home for a while. It's a little wet, but I don't care. Thanks for watching, everyone, and just a extra thank you to everyone who has subscribed and continued supporting this channel throughout the past little while, as I've recently broken the 10,000 subscriber mark. It's been a fun journey, and I certainly look forward to a whole lot more videos to come. So leave me your thoughts, comments, and ideas for future videos in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys, and after a long rest, I will ride myself back home on that thing.